Now, in the statement that was read out on Iranian state television today, Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, vowed revenge for everybody who was killed in airstrikes on the country, saying that the bombing of a girls' school in the south of Iran on the first day of the conflict had his special attention. More than 150 people were killed in that attack on the primary school in Minab on the 28th of February, most of them children. The attack is the worst mass killing of the US and Israel's war in Iran so far, and has been described by UNESCO as a grave violation of international law. Let's hear some of what Iran's new supreme leader has been saying about that.
Not only our leader, any member of the nation who has been martyred or will be martyred by the enemies will be added to the file of the revenge. Part of the revenge has already been carried out, but it will be completely carried out. And until then, this file will be open.
Well, what happened to that school in Iran has caused a lot of concern in the United States in particular. Nearly every US Senate Democrat has signed a letter to the American Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth requesting a swift investigation of the attacks on the school. And the European Union's Foreign Affairs Chief, Kaja Kallas, told the BBC today there had to be accountability over what happened there.
If there is a breach of law or, international humanitarian law, then there also has to be accountability. And this is also in a broader sense, because if there is no accountability, if those people who are responsible for this are not held responsible, we will see more of it, because, it's a cycle of revenge and retaliation, because people don't see that anybody is held accountable and want to take the law into their own hands, which is definitely not good for the stability.
Well, that was Kaja Kallas. Let's talk now to Wes Bryant, who is a defence and national security analyst and a former senior policy analyst and advisor on precision warfare and civilian harm mitigation at the Pentagon's Civilian Protection Center. So thank you very much for being with us. What are your thoughts on what happened at this school in Iran? The Trump administration say they're still investigating. They haven't given yet any definitive answers as to what happened, although we heard the suggestion from the president himself a few days ago that this could have been Iran itself which attacked the school.
Yes, I'll say this entire event obviously is incredibly tragic, and it's shameful that it occurred in the manner in which it occurred. It's shameful to watch the response by Secretary of Defense Hegseth and then Trump. It's also unacceptable and shameful in itself that our own Secretary of Defense, our own military leadership, still can't to this day confirm where they've dropped their own munitions, their own bombs and missiles. Now, it'll take a lot of convincing. I've been analyzing this strike from the start, and this is what I did my whole career. It'll take a lot of convincing to me now to say that this was anything but a U.S. strike. But, for the administration not to come out and at least acknowledge that so far, it shows a lot.
And there were pictures clearly of a Tomahawk missile, but we don't know whether that was American or not. But let's just assume it was American. Why would that have happened, given your experiencing in targeting and mitigating civilian casualties? What would have gone wrong, do you think?
Well, let's back up and say that this was absolutely American. Trump is lying, not just wrong, but I believe lying when he says that Iran could have Tomahawks. If they did, that's a whole nother red flag to ask the president how, under your command, did a highly export-controlled weapon vital to U.S. national security end up in the hands of Iran. So that's just false. This was U.S. Tomahawks. It all completely lines up with the rest of the information we had on where the U.S. was striking on that particular day. And these were Tomahawk remnants found. We had, of course, the video of the Tomahawk. Now, going to the strike itself, there's twofold issues here. The very first one is, the degradation, the disillusion of civilian harm mitigation efforts by Secretary Hegseth starting last year, and the de-emphasis on really attention to international law, to restraint and rules of engagement, to protection of civilians. But then second to that is that this strike was incredibly blatantly negligent. It was a violation. What happened here was very clearly a violation of fundamental targeting principles that we've had in our military for 20, 30 years now.
There's been reporting on Reuters that this school actually had a significant presence online. There was a lot about it online. It's not like it was sort of hidden away.
Yes, exactly. And the reports we're seeing, and this confirms what I believed from the start, is that we had Central Command received old, outdated imagery, old, outdated targeting information, and they didn't what we call properly vet that information and characterize each and every target they were going to hit in real time or near real time as is required. And then with that, characterizing and understanding and looking at civilian, what we call pattern of life, conducting collateral damage analysis, and assessing risk to civilians. Part of that would be, hey, let's look at Iran's open source mapping, which shows a school. Let's maybe look online and see if a school's listed, right? As you mentioned, we have actual paid, employed open source intelligence analysts at these commands in these task forces. That's what they're supposed to be doing as well. But the problem here is that, you have this culture of disregard for the civilian aspect, and it's all about killing, death and destruction, as many strikes as we can get in, all dictated from the top by Hegseth.
Okay.
It's pure bloodlust. When you have this kind of culture proliferating, you're going to have these slips. You're going to have these mistakes.
Okay, we're out of time. Wes, thank you very much for giving us your expertise and your analysis of what may have happened there. Thank you so much. Wes Bryant there, a defence and national security analyst who did work at the Pentagon. Thank you.